Well, game off. Yeah, well, just for a moment, take a close look at this. What you're seeing, if you look closely, is a swarm of bees taking over a Yankees-Red Sox spring training game. Kind of hard to see, but trust me, they're there. The game was delayed for 7 minutes while members of the grounds crew tried to alleviate the situation with some there they are, with some insect spray. Red Sox left fielder Mike Karp estimated there were about a couple thousand bees. Those swarms really are not an unusual sight right now. As a matter of fact, it is bee swarming season.
So what does that mean? Well, it's a time when bees of a hive have created a new queen and are in the process of looking for a new home. Basically, it's how new honeybee colonies are formed. Swarms usually contain a few thousand bees.
So if you're not allergic to bees, no big deal. Nothing to be worried about, right? Not necessarily.
Even if you don't have a bee allergy, their stings can still be very dangerous, even deadly.
Bruce Umland was clearing rubbish and brush from his property when bees attacked. It's believed the fire Bruce was using disturbed a hive and caused the insects to swarm. Umland was not allergic to bees, but was stung at least 3 times. Paramedics tried to save his life, but he died at the scene. Bee experts say it's swarming season, and the insects are usually bothered by loud noises. And if they attack you, be prepared to run up to 1/4 mile until you can find shelter in the form of a house, car, or tent. As you run, experts say try to protect your face and throat with a jacket or shirt.
Basically what I would do is keep the hat on, take a towel, take something, cover yourself up just like this all the way, and start going. Run, 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 run.
Although most people are not allergic to bees, if you're stung and suffer from a swollen throat or a sudden drop in blood pressure, call 911. But if you only experience minor swelling near the bee sting site, doctors say you can take care of the pain at home with ice and elevation.
Unfortunately, you just never know where swarming bees will migrate.
So what if they ended up at your house? Would you know what to do? Well, joining us today to give us some insight on the bees on Delmarva is Master Beekeeper Dean Burrows. Dean, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate
Thank you.
That.
Good to be here.
So we just heard this story about Bruce and him being attacked. And bee swarms, is there some place that they usually set up shop?
Bees, when they swarm during the spring, like now, they can be anywhere, or a tree or shrub, a mailbox, or a car hood. It just depends. They rest for a little bit and they're looking for a hollow tree or someplace that they can build a new home.
Is there any particular time of year that they do this for the most part?
Yeah, April through June is prime swarm season. That's when you see them.
Oh, okay. So we have some video, or we have some pictures here of a swarm right here. Take a look at this. What do we need to do when we see something that looks like that?
Well, a swarm like that, it's a beautiful sign to a beekeeper. We'd love to see that. We collect those bees, put them in a hive, and build them up for honey producing the next year. So if you see a swarm, call the local extension agency. Beekeepers are listed there, and they will give you a number to call. If you know a beekeeper, call that beekeeper right away. They'd be glad to come out and pick up that swarm.
Shouldn't be confused with African bees, right? These are
right. We don't have
okay.
Africanized bees in Maryland at all. No, they're normal local honeybees.
So if we see a swarm like this and we call somebody, it won't cost us?
No, if it's on a bush or a tree or easy to just shake into a box, no. If they have to go into the side of a house, do carpentry work, something like that, it's going to cost some money, yeah.
What if, most people don't really like to come across bees. I mean, I'm not a big fan.
No, I'm not
You did
either.
a story on bees. It was incredible. Bees are really beneficial, aren't they?
They're very beneficial, bees are. The average person, talking about bees and stings is a fearful conversation, but really bees are only aggressive or defensive around their hive. 1/3 of all the fruits and vegetables we enjoy are pollinated by, a 1/3 of the food we eat, pollinated by honeybees. So we need them for the quality, taste, and shape of the fruit and vegetables we eat.
So if we come across an odd-shaped watermelon, what does that mean?
Right. If a melon or a fruit is misshapen, it wasn't fully pollinated. It will not have the taste, the sweetness in the case of a watermelon, or the overall quality of a good fruit.
Really?
So what kind of bees do we see here on Delmarva?
We have Italian bees here. Almost all of our bees are Italian bees. There are about 35 different species worldwide, but we have Italian bees here. They're good, they're easy to work with, they're good pollinators, and good honey producers.
Okay, now I don't know if it's really a bee, but I've had almost every year, this time of year, these things come into my garage. They're like the size of my thumb. Are those honeybees?
Well, no, probably not. Those are, sounds more like carpenter bees. They're very curious and they swarm around your face and all, but they rarely will sting.
Right.
But they're just kind of annoying, that's all.
And there's a European hornet?
And there's a European hornet also. We have a few of those around. And again, they're good pollinators like honeybees. And again, they're not aggressive just to see them around your yard. But if you're around the nest, they can be very defensive.
So what makes them different from the Italian bees?
Well, the European hornet,
Yeah.
there are not as many of them. And the Italian bees, the honeybee is the only insect that produces surplus honey. All these other insects we talk about collect nectar, pollinate, but they collect only enough nectar and pollen for their brood and their young, the larvae.
And as far as stinging, though, the hornets can sting several times.
They can sting. The difference, if you're stung by a honeybee, the honeybee will leave a stinger and then shortly die. All other stinging insects do not leave a stinger. So you can be stung multiple times by other stinging insects, but only stung once by a honeybee.
Okay, so we've been hearing the stories for quite some time now about how we seem to be losing honeybees. I think out in the Midwest they lost like up to 80% of their honeybees. This could really impact us, couldn't it?
It has and it does, yes. Slowly getting better. Our biggest problem now is an invasive pest called the Varroa destructor. It's a mite that causes viruses that kill the bees. And that's our problem. Then we have lack of foraging area, we have pesticides, and then mistakes beekeepers make overall. But mainly it's the viruses that are killing the bees now.
So what's the end result to us consumers?
We think it's going to be better a few years down the road. The bees are building up resistance, but it's nature's way and it takes a while for this to happen. So we think maybe 8 to 10 years down the road it's going to be a lot better for us.
So for now, honey's going to cost us more.
Honey's and bees and honey, and the price is up, yes, because of the lack of a product.
And produce, too, right?
Yes, the produce too, yeah. And we're just trying to have enough bees to service our local farms so we can pollinate those fruits and vegetables properly.
Right. Dean Burrows, thanks so much. This is
Very
great stuff
fascinating.
there, information.
And if you'd like to read more about bees and beekeeping here on Delmarva, go to delmarvalife.com and click on the show tab. Well, it seems we've been swarmed with some bad weather all winter. The wrath of Mother Nature can not only do a number on the bees, but on our homes too. Still ahead on Delmarva Life, when the outside elements make their way inside, not only do you have a mess to clean up, you need to make sure it doesn't happen again. Our friends with State Farm offer some tips for when disaster strikes.
And a little later on, a new show debuts tonight on WBOC, Friends with Better Lives, a romantic comedy about several friends at various relationship stages. We're going to get a preview. Delmarva Life. We'll be right back.